The automatic doors of Terminal 5 slid open with a soft hiss, and Maya stepped through first, her twin brother Jordan right behind her. Their matching black carry-ons rolled smoothly across the polished floor, wheels clicking in perfect rhythm. The afternoon sun streamed through massive windows, casting long shadows across the departure hall. Flight 447 to Chicago should be boarding soon, Jordan said, checking his phone. Dad's flight lands 3 hours after ours. He said he'll meet us at the hotel. Maya nodded, adjusting her backpack. Yeah, he's finishing that merger deal. Pretty big stuff. They made their way through security without issue, credentials checked and approved. The first-class lounge welcomed them with comfortable chairs and complimentary refreshments. Everything seemed normal, peaceful even. But that peace wouldn't last long. Boarding began 30 minutes later. Maya and Jordan presented their tickets at the gate. First-class passengers called first. The gate agent smiled, scanned their boarding passes, and waved them through. They walked down the jet bridge, anticipation building for the flight ahead. Inside the aircraft, the first-class cabin gleamed with leather seats and polished wood accents. Maya found her seat, RA, while Jordan settled into RB across the aisle. They stored their bags in the overhead compartments, moving with the practiced ease of frequent travelers. That's when Rachel appeared. The flight attendant stood in the aisle, her blonde hair pulled back tight, her smile frozen and fake. Her eyes swept over the twins, lingering just a moment too long. Something shifted in her expression, something cold and calculating. Excuse me, Rachel said, her voice sharp despite the forced politeness. Can I see your boarding passes again? Maya looked up, confused but cooperative. Sure, no problem. She pulled out her phone, displaying the digital ticket. Jordan did the same. Rachel studied them both, her lips pressed into a thin line. These seats are for first-class passengers only. Are you sure you're in the right section? The question hung in the air like poison. Jordan's jaw tightened. Yes, we're sure. Our tickets clearly show seats RA and RB, first class. Rachel's eyes narrowed. Where did you purchase these tickets? Our father's assistant booked them through the corporate account, Maya explained, keeping her voice steady despite the rising tension in her chest. Is there a problem? I need to verify something. Rachel turned sharply, walking toward the cockpit. She returned moments later with a security guard, a tall man named Calvin whose hand rested casually near his radio. Other passengers began to notice. Whispers started, heads turned. Maya felt dozens of eyes burning into her skin. Her hands trembled slightly, but she kept them folded in her lap, determined not to show fear. These two claim they have first-class tickets, Rachel announced to Calvin, loud enough for surrounding passengers to hear. But I have reason to believe there's been some kind of mistake or, possibly, fraud. Jordan stood up, his voice firm but controlled. There's no fraud. Call the reservation desk if you need to verify. Our father is Marcus Chen, CEO of Skybridge Aviation Group. He's on a later flight for a business merger in Chicago. Rachel actually laughed, a harsh sound that cut through the cabin. Right, and I'm the Queen of England. Sir, I'm going to have to ask you both to gather your belongings and move to economy class. If you refuse, you'll be removed from this flight entirely. Maya's heart pounded, but her mind stayed clear. She pulled out her phone, opened the camera app, and hit record. I'm documenting this. You're treating us differently than other passengers, and we've done nothing wrong. Calvin shifted uncomfortably, seeming less certain now. Ma'am, maybe we should just check the system real quick before I know a scam when I see one, Rachel interrupted, her face flushing red. These kids probably found some discounted tickets online or used someone else's account. It happens all the time. The cockpit door opened again, and the pilot emerged. Derek was an older man with silver hair and captain's stripes on his shoulders. His expression was stern, authoritative. What's the situation? Derek demanded, Rachel gestured toward the twins. These two are refusing to cooperate. I've asked them multiple times to verify their tickets, but they keep making excuses and wild claims about their father being some CEO. Derek looked at Maya and Jordan, his gaze cold and dismissive. This is my aircraft, and I will not tolerate disruption. You have 60 seconds to comply with my crew's instructions, or I'm calling airport police to have you escorted off. Maya's finger trembled over her phone screen. She scrolled through her contacts, found her father's number, and pressed dial. The phone rang once, twice, then connected. Maya? Sweetheart, is everything okay? Marcus Chan's voice came through, warm and concerned. Dad, we need help, Maya said, her voice cracking slightly. They're trying to remove us from our flight. They don't believe we belong in first class. The line went silent for 3 seconds that felt like 3 hours. When Marcus spoke again, his voice had transformed into something hard as steel. Put me on speaker. Now. Maya tapped the screen. You're on speaker, Dad. To whoever is in charge of this situation, Marcus said, his words measured and precise. My name is Marcus Chen. I am the Chief Executive Officer of Skybridge Aviation Group, which, as you may or may not know, owns 42% of this airline's parent company. My children are seated in first class on Flight 447 to Chicago. If they are removed, harassed further, or treated with anything less than absolute respect, I will personally ensure that every person involved in this incident faces immediate suspension pending investigation. Am I making myself clear? Rachel's face drained of color. Calvin took a step back. Derek stood frozen, his mouth slightly open. Marcus wasn't finished. I'm calling headquarters right now. Do not move my children. Do not touch them. Do not speak to them unless they speak to you first. Someone from operations will be there in less than 5 minutes. The line went dead. The cabin fell into absolute silence. Passengers stared, some with their phones out, clearly recording the entire scene. 3 minutes later, the gate agent's voice crackled over the intercom. We need Operations Manager Patricia Hayes to Gate 32 immediately. Emergency situation, code gold. 2 minutes after that, a woman in a dark business suit came sprinting down the jet bridge, her heels clicking frantically against the floor. Patricia Hayes burst into the cabin, her face pale and sweating despite the air conditioning. Her eyes found Maya and Jordan instantly. Recognition and horror flashed across her features. Oh no, Patricia breathed. Oh no, no, no. She turned to Rachel and Derek, her voice shaking with barely controlled fury. Do you have any idea what you just done? These are Marcus Chan's children. The Marcus Chan. As in, the man who controls whether this airline survives its next quarterly report. Rachel swayed slightly, gripping the nearest seat for support. Derek's military posture crumbled, Patricia's radio crackled. All ground operations, this is VP Thomas Mitchell. I'm en route to Gate 32. Hold Flight 447, repeat, hold Flight 447 until I arrive. The next 10 minutes passed in surreal slow motion. The Vice President of Operations himself boarded the aircraft, a distinguished man in his 50s with gray temples and an expression of genuine distress. He approached Maya and Jordan with his hands visible, non-threatening. Ms. Chen, Mr. Chen, Thomas said quietly, on behalf of this airline, I offer my deepest and most sincere apologies. What happened here today is unacceptable, unconscionable, and absolutely does not represent our company's values. Rachel and Derek have been suspended effective immediately, pending a full investigation. Maya lowered her phone, stopping the recording. We just wanted to take our flight. That's all we wanted. Thomas nodded, pain evident in his eyes. I understand. Your father is on his way here now. His flight was redirected. If you wish to wait for him, we'll accommodate you on a later flight, first class, with a full refund and compensation. If you wish to proceed on this flight, we'll ensure you have complete privacy and comfort. Jordan looked at his sister. They'd been through this before, in different forms, different places. But they also learned something important from their father over the years. We'll take the later flight, Jordan said finally. With our dad. Marcus Chen arrived at the airport 45 minutes later, his private car pulling directly onto the tarmac with special clearance. He walked through the terminal like a storm front, other executives trailing in his wake. When he reached the first-class lounge where his children waited, his expression softened immediately. He pulled them both into a tight hug, not caring who was watching. I'm so sorry you had to experience that. You handled it with more grace than I would have. You taught us well, Maya said, managing a small smile. The airline's CEO herself appeared within the hour, offering personal apologies and announcing immediate policy changes. Mandatory bias training for all staff, quarterly reviews, and a new passenger advocacy program. The incident would be used as a teaching moment, though that didn't erase what had happened, as Maya, Jordan, and Marcus finally boarded their rescheduled flight that evening. The cabin crew treated them with genuine respect, not born from fear but from understanding. The gate agent who checked them in was a young black woman who gave them a subtle nod of solidarity. During the flight, Maya looked out the window at the clouds below, glowing gold in the sunset. Justice wasn't always swift, and it wasn't always perfect. But today, their voices had been heard. Today, they stood their ground and made a difference, and sometimes, that was enough.